Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hey, we're at DJM Design's garage. Today we're talking about the basic needs to get started in woodworking. I see out there on Facebook, I belong to a few groups, the Beginner's Guides to Woodworking, a couple other ones that I will link down below after we get going. Biggest concern that I see and the biggest talk I talk about or answer questions to is, what do I need to get started in doing this? Do I need all these fancy tools? Do I need a big table saw? Do I need a big bandsaw? Do I need a drill press? All those answers are no, you do not. If you want to get into this for under $1,000 at most things, so you can probably get into this for less than that. You can get into it for less than $500 if you shop wisely. If you want to buy brand new tools, I would say probably $500 you can get into this. Otherwise, shop your local marketplaces. Check out the pawn shops. Pawn shops are a great place to get tools, relatively inexpensive. Do not pay the price on the tag. Always negotiate with the guys in the pawn shop. They paid a very minimal dollar for that product. They will negotiate with you to get it off their shelves. So here we are. 22 years ago, I basically started working on my own, started my own company. Started out with basic nothing. My dad taught me how to build a garage. In high school I learned how to frame houses. That's where my love began for woodworking. From there on out, just remember, if you ain't screwing it up, you ain't trying. Because in woodworking, you're always going to mess something up. You just try to keep it to a bare minimum. The best part about it is actually learning from your mistakes. You'll always know. When they say measure twice, cut once, they mean it. We all do it. It all happens. It's cost me a little bit of money. It still happens to this day. If you find a way to not lose your tape measure, please let all of us know, because we will buy that product. Alright, so let's get into this. Basic needs. First off the bat, you're going to need some kind of a hammer. Either a light 10-ounce hammer like I got here for not damaging the wood when you're pounding in nails. 16-ounce hammer for driving something a little harder or trying to force something. And this is a basic dead blow hammer. Creates basically a dead blow. It doesn't damage the wood, and it's good for moving product into spaces. The other hammer I don't have here on hand is a rubber mallet. That's so you can pound on stuff without having to worry about putting dents in it. Next thing you're going to need in your list: screwdrivers are an essential. I know these are the manual type. A lot of people don't own these, but you got to have them. You're going to use these for everything. Whether you're changing out blades on your saws, doing anything to do with tightening down a screw within your work, I mean, you got to have them. I mean, for $6, it's a pretty good investment. And again, remember, shop your local pawn shop. The one thing that I always say is you only lose money when you buy it. So buy it cheap, buy it right, make sure it works. These don't have any working parts except for your arms, so if you break those, then these are no good to you. Alright, in this video, I have a lot of Ryobi tools. Ryobi does not sponsor this video. They are just one of the tools that I have come accustomed to and found that work very well. Over the times when I had the construction company, tools seemed to walk off from the jobs, so I decided to go this route. And during that process, it was cheaper to go buy a new one than try and chase down the one that walked off. Number one. Number two, over time, I've found that these were just as quality as the DeWalt's, the Rigids, the Milwaukees. They work great. Ryobi has a 1-year warranty on most of their products. If it goes wrong in that first year, it's an exchange. You just take it back to your local Home Depot or wherever you bought your product and exchange it over for a new one. They sell the 2-year programs on top of that. It's still an exchange program. You just take it back in, get another one, and move on. And with all the new brushless systems coming out, these products they have more torque than what you'll ever need. Take one. Alright, first tool I can't live without is my impact wrench or impact gun. This thing makes less work out of all the work that you can have. It doesn't work on your wrists, doesn't wrench on anything like a conventional drill. If you're using a conventional drill with the screw on it, you're going to get a little torque on your wrists and everything else. Remember that the impact wrench will tighten things down very quick, very tight, and probably over tighten. So there is a little bit of a learning curve when you're doing this. On a standard drill, you will have settings that you can set your tightness to, so you can't over tighten them. And in the beginning, I recommend that you use this until you get used to an impact wrench. As you become more familiar with the tools and the way you work, you'll probably end up using the impact wrench more than you will for this. This is basically, I use this for drilling holes and everything else. Anything I do for tightening, I use the impact wrench. Again, Ryobi, you can get into a decent 4-pack set of Ryobi for 169 bucks brand new. You can pick these up at the pawn shops, anywhere else, relatively inexpensive. They're on Marketplace all the time for 20 bucks, 30 bucks. You can get 4 or 5 different tools. Next tool that you can't live without, some sort of a sander. I have the Ryobi battery sander. Now these are 79 bucks brand new. You can buy the corded ones for 39 bucks if you don't want to go the route with the batteries. I've just gotten so used to having all the battery powered stuff around here. I've built everything up to where I've got 22 batteries charging it all the time. Every one of my items always has a battery in it unless they're all on the chargers. The other kind of sanders there's a belt sander. This is a corded belt sander. It's good for taking off large products with a heavy grit belt. You can make quick work of everything that you got. The other tool that I can't live without is a handheld router. This 1/4-inch router saves the day on making edges fine, routing the edges to square. It's a lifesaver if you can get to it. This may be something you want to add later after you've built your first couple of projects. During that period of time, I would build a couple simple products. Start off with a birdhouse, start off with a bench, start off with a toolbox. Build your own toolbox, get everything square. Speaking of squares, get yourself a speed square. This is a 12-inch speed square. They sell 6-inch speed squares. I like the 12-inch because it just covers all my bases 9 times out of 10 when I need it, unless I need to get into a smaller space. Other items that I can't live without: an adjusting square. This is probably your #1 tool in the shop. I use this for everything. Setting depths on saws, setting depth for the wood. You can place this on the product, set the depth, tighten it down, and then take that back to your saw and mark a line, and there you have your exact depth. In the beginning, again, you don't need to have all the fancy tools. I started out with a skill saw, didn't have a table saw. Everybody says, well, how do you cut big products with a skill saw? You can use 2 clamps and a 2x4 as long as it's pretty straight. You can butt that saw up against the edge of that 2x4 and cut yourself a straight plank. It works. It's a little more inconvenient, but it does the job. Like I said in the beginning, tools cost a lot of money. Over time, you can sell your products however you want to do it, save your money, and buy the decent products. The other things that you got to have pretty much in a shop nowadays, you can hand nail everything, but that's going to take a little bit of time. If you're not very good with a hammer, it's going to frustrate the hell out of you. I recommend Boss Stitch has a 2-pack out there that's like $149. They have a brad nailer, pin nailer. This is for just tacking small items when you're gluing up your stuff. This is a brad nailer, 18 gauge up to 2 1/4 inch, and it works phenomenal. And you see that these are air compressor lined. You're going to need an air compressor if you want to buy these type of tools. Again, watch your sales. A lot of times they will sell these 2 items with a pancake air compressor, a smaller one. You don't need anything huge to get started, for around 150 to 200 bucks. Other thing that you're going to have automatically, some sort of a tape measure, unless you're going to wing it and your products are going to. Some other items that might need in the beginning, if you're starting to learn how to cut dados, if you're learning how to cut rabbits, if you're doing them with a skill saw, you're going to need yourself a good chisel. I just use Irwins with the hard ends. They've been good, they work good, they're always reliable, they sharpen well. I've mentioned skill saws a bunch of times. There are a ton of handheld circular saws out there. I've seen them anywhere from Harbor Freight from 39 bucks up to the true skill saw, which is a name brand. This is my original skill saw that I bought when I was 15, when I started framing houses. So that was back in 1983. They are heavy. This one is very heavy. The other one I have is a magnesium built, and skill saw is a worm drive. It's a little less torquish on your hands versus a standard straight up skill saw or circular saw. They do sell them in left and right handed for circular saws, so make sure you buy accordingly so you know what you're doing. Extra tools in my bag: level, pencils. For any of you out there that are just learning how to combine woods, if you can afford it right off the beginning, I would invest in a Kreg pocket hole system. They work phenomenal. They tighten up everything. Kind of like cheating, but it gives you square, tight corners, and it will. They don't fail you. It's a remarkable tool. It works in good areas where it's needed. Staple gun. I use this for nailing the backs of stuff or combining woods, putting on backs of cabinets, anywhere the item can't be seen. I don't need to putty the holes or anything of that nature. I use the staple gun. Glue. You have Type Bond. It's probably the #1 glue out there. You have Type 2 and Type 1, the original. Type 2 is for exterior. The original is for everything else. They sell a couple other different brands for workability. to where it doesn't dry on you immediately if you don't know what you're doing. So it has a little bit of a cure time, so you can move stuff and adjust stuff as you get better and working better. You'll be able to do these things. On this table right here, all these tools, like I said, you can buy a lot of this stuff at the pawn shops, but the Ryobi tools and all that, this setup right here is right around $320. The chisels were 15 bucks. The level was 8 bucks. The square and the speed square were 13 bucks combined. The 3 hammers were 40 bucks. The 2 nailers, the pin nailer and the brad nailer, were about 120 bucks combined. Again, the saw, I always stepped up. I like the skill saw, the worm drive. So these are a little more pricey. These are around 180 bucks, but again, you can go to a pawn shop and probably find these for around 100 bucks. If you want to just buy a regular circular saw, again, they start at 39 bucks at Harbor Freight and go up from there. It's just what you're comfortable with. Last thing that I recommend that you're going to need in any situation, if you're gluing up anything, pipe clamps. Easy way to get into clamping stuff. They're inexpensive. You can buy these clamp adapters that fit on any 3/4 inch black pipe. I think there's four of them for 40 bucks, so 10 bucks a piece. I recommend buying 4 or 8 of those if you can. After you get going, look for clamps at the pawn shop. Framing square. This is your friend. This will make you get everything you need square, true to whatever you need. Anything else I'm thinking of, you might want a hand plane if you're beginning out to be able to plan down some corners, soften out some edges. I don't have one sitting on the table here, but I have one behind me over there. But basically, in the realm of things, that is basically about it for what you're going to need to start this long, sometimes frustrating, but very rewarding adventure. I will never trade it for anything. I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments for me, hey, look, we all try new things. This is a new thing to me. I'm just learning how to operate these cameras. I'm just learning how to do this YouTube stuff. I appreciate all your feedback. Tell me how much of a dumbass I am, how bad I stutter, everything, what I can do to improve to make your video viewing more enjoyable. I hope to be posting 1 to 2 videos like this a week. We're going to go through the shop on the next tour and show you exactly what I have in my garage shop. I do have a larger shop down south. We'll go through that at a later date. But again, in the very beginning, these are your basic needs. I hope this helped. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button. I appreciate you tuning in, and please leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I can only improve if you tell me what I'm doing wrong. Thanks again. Have a great day.